Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, thank you for joining. My name is Liz Pena. I'm a marketing specialist at Verity IT. Like the title suggests, today's webinar will cover business continuity today, tomorrow, and beyond. Today, we are joined by Eric Torres to discuss business continuity further. Once named to CRM Magazine's 100 People You Don't Know But Should list, as the Director of Channel Development for Datto, Eric brings his passion for business continuity and the managed service provider community to this role and focuses on supporting the Datto partner community and growing their business. Thanks for joining us, Eric.
All right, thank you for having me, and thank you guys for tuning in today. I've got a lot of information that I'm going to cover in a very short amount of time. We certainly appreciate taking the time out of your day to listen in here, and I know how valuable your time is. So we're going to try to keep this to 30 minutes or less and try to give you plenty of your day back. But as Liz mentioned, I am Eric Torres, Director of Channel Development for Datto. I am one of the evangelists for the company. I'm out there meeting with business owners and finding out what's keeping them up at night when it comes to network security and business continuity and disaster recovery. A little bit about Datto. We are the world's leading provider of business continuity solutions. We are based right here in the US. We were founder created in Norwalk, Connecticut with two data centers, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and data centers and offices all throughout the world. But the most important thing to know is that we are protecting over 800,000 small to medium-sized businesses with our business continuity solutions. So today I'm going to walk through a little bit of a journey of what business continuity and what network security looked like yesterday, and then all the way through to forward thinking. What do we think business continuity will look like in 4, 5, 6 years? So in starting with what it looked like yesterday, just from a network security standpoint, it was pretty easy to protect a network. Way back in the day, network security was much less complicated. You were able to purchase security in a one-time purchase manner. You were able to purchase a firewall, intrusion detection systems, and prevention systems, and they worked. But then the bad guys started to get better and craftier at what they do, and the networks themselves got much more complicated, where data is living in multiple locations. We have SaaS applications. We're doing business from our phones, from our tablets, from our workstations. Suddenly, there's a lot more vulnerabilities introduced to the network. And yesterday, backup was more about being reactive. It was having that tape drive solution. It was backing up data, having that data on something that you could then move and transport, that you knew that if anything happened to your network, you had a copy of that data. Well, those days are very old, because business continuity today, it's all about minimizing the amount of downtime you have. Also, the threats out there today are only getting harder and harder to defend against. We know that ransomware is king, and it's costing small to medium-sized businesses a ton of money. We're still formulating all of our stats from 2021, but it is in the billions of dollars, and that's just what is reported, versus all those companies that are paying the ransom and not even reporting it to the feds. So how often is a business hit with ransomware? I've got a ton of stats on this, and I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of stats. You can read them here on the screen or shoot all the way to the bottom there. A business is hit with ransomware every 13 seconds. That is how often it's happening. That is the wide net that these threat actors are using. They're going after every single business. It does not matter what you do. All they care about is that you care about your data and you're willing to pay for it. So in thinking about that data, how do we protect that? Today's security focus remains primarily on the on-prem network, meaning the data that lives on the servers that is on your network. But at Datto, we offer, and I hate using industry buzzwords when I'm going to use one right here. Today's standard is a hybrid cloud platform. Basically, that's a fancy marketing way of saying we keep multiple copies of your data in multiple locations in different formats, so that if we need to recover, we can do exactly that as fast as possible. So through Datto, we are truly able to offer business continuity. And I'll share with you this. The difference between backup and business continuity, there's a clear-cut difference. Anybody can deliver you a backup solution. I can give you a USB drive and we can back data up and I can take that offsite. But business continuity is all about recovering that data and being able to bounce back from a cyber attack, from unplanned outages, from hardware failures in a matter of minutes, if not seconds, versus having to restore data. You're down for a couple of days. It's not true business continuity if it's just a backup solution. The easiest way I can describe the difference is this: business continuity rewinds the hands of time. If you go down, if you get a cyber attack, if there's a tornado that wipes out your business, what we do through the technology is we just go right back to 5 minutes before that bad thing happened and act like it didn't happen. That is what business continuity today looks like. So I mentioned the hybrid cloud approach. This is what I mean by that. There are 4 copies of your data at any given moment. The data that's living on your physical or virtual infrastructure, your workstations, your tablets, your servers, even your virtual servers, your cloud applications. What Datto does is we install a continuity device on the network, stores that data locally on that device. That's the second copy of the data. And then we're sending it to multiple clouds that we have, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast. So 4 copies of your data at all times. That is what reliable data redundancy is. That is what business continuity today looks like. So let's take a look at what this truly looks like in action. I'm a pictures guy, especially when it comes to explaining technology. The left-hand side of your screen is your network. Whether your staff is working from home, working from the cabin, working from inside the office, you have your virtual infrastructure, your physical infrastructure. Doesn't matter how they're connecting. There's data that resides there. What we do in today's standards, we have the appliance, as I mentioned, that backs up as little as every 5 minutes, stores that data on our device, on your network. We're also running through a couple of tests on that data itself, every single backup. We're checking for ransomware on every single backup as that layered approach to security. You have your firewalls, you have your prevention measures in place. What we have is a system that's still looking, if something does get past that, we need to know about it right away. We're also testing the viability of every single device, every single night. We test it automatically to make sure that if you do go down, we're able to recover at a moment's notice. We're able to provide you with business continuity. We're also able to virtualize this data. If you do have a ransomware attack, if you do go down, if there is a hardware outage, we literally flip a switch. We bring your network right back online. We can do that from the on-prem device that we have, but we're also sending this data to 2 of our data centers, as I mentioned, and we can virtualize from there as well. So heaven forbid there's a natural disaster like we saw over the weekend, where multiple businesses are down, locations are down, buildings are wiped out. We're able to still keep your business afloat and have that network up and running at a moment's notice from our data center. Now, what else can we be doing today? So I talked about business continuity, protecting the data that's on your network. That is something that is available right now through the power of Datto. But what else can we be doing? And the first thing we should be looking at is regular staff training. And the point I want to stress to everybody tuning in, security is everybody's responsibility. It is not just your IT department. It is not your outsourced IT department. It is everybody's responsibility to take security seriously and having hard passwords, refreshing your passwords, knowing what to click on, what not to click on. This is where you need a managed service provider in there to help train your people and get them to understand what to be on the lookout for and what not to do. How do you connect when you're remote? What if you're in a hotel? Should you be using public Wi-Fi? All of these things come into play that you could start training your staff on today. The next step is planning, and planning for the worst case scenario. If you go down, does everybody in your organization know what to do, how to connect, what not to do? All of this requires a proper business continuity, disaster recovery, planned approach, and developing those processes, those procedures that say, if you go down, here's exactly how we're going to connect. Here's how we're going to survive as a business if we do get attacked, if we do have that unplanned outage. It's all about connecting your people with technology. And this is what we're able to do here today by sharing with you some of the ways that we can stop the bad guys, and then more importantly, how we can recover that data if and when you do go down. So business continuity tomorrow, what does that really look like now? So let's walk through this. Way back in the day, it was easy to do. You could buy a security solution, you could buy a backup solution, and it worked. Then it turned into business continuity, and that is available today. You can protect your network, you can recover your network in a matter of seconds, if not minutes, versus days or weeks if something bad happened. Now, once you have that in place, what's your next step? Aside from planning, aside from the process and procedures and the training, what else should we be looking at? Well, we know that the on-premise platforms, your servers that reside in your server room, are slowly moving to cloud infrastructure and moving into a cloud scenario where you've got hosted servers that live on a network somewhere. And the next step is taking a look at your SaaS applications that are in use. Because your devices are in the cloud, because they are connecting in various ways, take a true look at what applications are in use today and will only expand to tomorrow. So what I mean by that is this: how many SaaS applications will you have in use tomorrow? Run through a simple scenario. And at Datto, we ran through this ourselves. At Datto, we thought we were using 12 SaaS applications. We were connecting to different software platforms. And what we thought was happening is that we had about a dozen of them. Once we sat down and we really looked into it, we were using over 75. Now, this is the new age in technology. This is where networks are going. SaaS applications, working smarter and faster instead of harder, making our jobs easier. So business continuity tomorrow will include SaaS protection. It will include a backup of the SaaS applications that are out there. So why SaaS protection? Well, we know that 1 in 3 companies are losing SaaS data, and that's just a fact. There's a number of different ways that companies are losing data that lives in Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. 47% of that data loss is caused by end user deletions. 20% of that data loss is caused by malicious act. So tomorrow's standard will be a unified platform for both on-prem, hosted, and that cloud infrastructure. We've got to look at all of that and see where the data resides and back that up in the same exact manner. Now let's do some forward thinking. What do we think it's going to look like in 3, 5, 7 years from now? We're already seeing a part of it right now due to COVID. The workforce went completely fluid. The workspace completely changed. You can see here today, I'm doing this from my home rather than an office. And we're working from a coffee shop. We're working from a cabin. Overnight, everybody went to go work from home in early 2020. And due to that, the number of connected devices that introduced vulnerabilities to networks skyrocketed. We know that internet connected devices today, it's just over 11 billion different types of internet connected devices that are available. Tomorrow, by next year, that's going to almost double to over 20 billion different types of devices. All of these introduce vulnerabilities to that network, to the way that your employees are connecting to the network and conducting their business. We also know that last year, Internet of Things targeted malware grew by 330%. These bad guys are getting so good at what they're doing that now they're targeting getting in through a Nest thermostat or using an internet connected home automation system to get into the workstation to then get into the home networks. These are real things that are happening. So how are users consuming this data? That is what we need to consider, and where we're connecting from, where that data resides again, and what we're doing with that data. So when you look at this, continuity beyond may include a user-based solution. And here's what I mean by that. Right now, today, business continuity, it's all about protecting a device, protecting your server, protecting your workstation, protecting your phone. it's device-based. What we are predicting is that business continuity in the future will be user-based, regardless of what device you're using. I may connect today to do this presentation from my laptop. I've got 3 laptops. Maybe the next one I do is from my second laptop, or maybe I'm on the road and I'm actually attending a meeting through my phone or using my iPad or using somebody else's device. What we're thinking of is, how do we protect me as the user rather than the device that I'm using, so that it seamlessly flows through across all platforms, across all solutions, and offers that total data protection, backing up all of that data no matter where it lives. Now, I know I went through that fairly quickly, but just know this, that Verity, through the power of data, we are helping with your business continuity planning today, tomorrow, and beyond. Now, I left some time intentionally for plenty of questions. If anybody does have some questions, I see a couple of them coming through here. But I also want to mention this before we get to the questions. I can't stress this enough either. If you take one thing from tuning in today, it's this: have a second set of eyes on your network. Even if you're happy with your current provider, if you've got the best IT department that is out there right now, it does not hurt to have a third party in there to say, yep, you're on the right path. Or here's some vulnerabilities that I found. Here's some things that you guys should be thinking about. And to get all of this for network assessment, security discussion, system audit, more information on business continuity today, tomorrow, and eventually beyond, just shoot an email to marketing@verity-it.com. Again, that's marketing@verity-it.com. And with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us today. I know I went through that very quickly. I was trying to get this done with leaving some time for questions. And I see a couple of questions that have come in. But with this, Liz, are there any other questions that have popped in that you haven't answered yet?
Yes, I did answer a few, but then there were some I left for you.
Okay.
The first question is, I'm often uploading things to my SharePoint multiple times a day. How often does SAS back up my files?
Sure. So there's a couple of different things in play there. If you're utilizing SharePoint Online, Microsoft 365, Teams, SharePoint Online, OneDrive, the SAS protection solutions that we have, the part where I was talking about what you could be doing tomorrow after you have your business continuity solutions, that is backing up 3 times a day, 3 specific moments in time, so that there is, it's not continual backups because of the way that we do it, but it's 3 times throughout the business day, where it's morning, afternoon, and then the end of the business day. But that way we can recover to any moment within that time. So 3 times a day that we are backing that up, that we can recover from and restore your SharePoint Online files, restore mailboxes, even the data that's inside of Teams and your messages and everything like that. All of that can be restored by a couple clicks of the mouse and drag and drop and bring it right back to your network.
Perfect. And then the second question is, how do I know my data is secure in the cloud? Should I have a physical backup as well?
Very good question. Me being overly protective, yes, I always want a copy of my data, and that is the beauty of Datto's business continuity solutions. We can actually provide you with a drive with your data on it. This comes into play particularly in a lot of the financial industry space. They want their year's worth of data, and they want to be able to have that data in their hands. So we can absolutely provide that. The beauty of true business continuity, as I mentioned, your data is in 4 locations at all times. So we have it living 2 data centers, living on your network, and then living on the Datto solution, so that if something bad happened, we can recover from any of those locations. But yes, we can absolutely put data on a drive for you and ship it off to you, and all of that is included in your investments with Datto.
Awesome. I think that's all the questions I have. So again, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us today, and we hope everyone has a productive day and happy holidays.
Great. Thank you all for tuning in. We certainly appreciate your time.